The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. She narrowed her eyes and shivered. Lucille shivered. We all turned and looked around for Gatsby. It was testimony. It was testimony to the romantic speculation he inspired that there were whispers about him from those who had found little that it was necessary to whisper about in this world. The first supper, there will be another one after midnight, was now being served, and Jordan invited me to join her own party, who were spread around a table on the other side of the garden. There were 3 married couples in Jordan's escort. A persistent undergraduate given to violin innuendo. And obviously under the impression that sooner or later Jordan was going to yield him up, her person, to a greater or lesser degree. Instead of rambling, the party had preserved a dignified homogeneity. And assumed to itself the function of representing the staid nobility of the countryside. East egg condescending to West egg and carefully on guard against its spectroscopic gaiety. Let's get out, whispered Jordan, after a somehow wistful and inappropriate half hour. This is much too polite for me. We got up, and she explained that we were going to find the host. I never met him, she said, and it was making me uneasy. The undergraduate nodded in a cynical, melancholy way. The bar where we glanced first was crowded, but Gatsby was not there. She couldn't find him from the top of the steps, and he wasn't on the veranda. On a chance, we tried an important-looking door and walked into a high Gothic library, paneled with carved English oak, and probably transported complete from some ruin overseas. A stout, middle-aged man with enormous owl-eye spectacles was sitting somewhat drunk on the edge of a great table, staring with uneasy concentration at the shelves of the books. As we entered, he wheeled excitedly around and examined Jordan from head to foot. "What do you think?" he demanded impetuously. "About what?" He waved his hand toward the bookshelves. "About that. As a matter of fact, you needn't bother to ascertain. I as I ascertained they're real. The books? He nodded. Absolutely real. Have pages and everything. I thought they'd be nice, durable cardboard. Matter of fact, they're absolutely real. Pages? Here, let me show you. Taking his skepticism for granted, he rushed to the bookcases and returned with volume 1 of the Stoddard Lectures. See? He cried triumphantly. Triumphantly. It's a bona fide piece of print matter. It fooled me. This fella is regular Belasco. It's a triumph. What thoroughness. What realism. Knew when to stop too. Didn't cut the pages, but what do you want? What do you expect? He snatched the book from me. He snatched the book from me and placed it hastily on its shelf, muttering that if one break was removed, the whole library was liable to collapse. Who brought you? He demanded. Or did you just come? Or did you just come? I was brought. Most of the people were brought. Jordan looked Jordan looked at him alertly, cheerfully, without answering. I was brought by a woman named Roosevelt. He continued, Mrs. Claude Roosevelt. Do you know her? I met her somewhere last night. I've been drunk for about a week now, and I thought it might sober me up to sit in the library. Has it? A little bit, I think. I can't tell yet. I've only been here an hour. Did you tell about the books? They're real. You told us. We shook hands with him gravely and went back outdoors. When there was dancing now. On the canvas in the garden. Old men pushing young girls backward in eternal graceless circles. Superior couples holding each other tortuously. Fashionably, and keeping in the corners, and a great number of single girls dancing individualistically, or relieving the orchestra for a moment of a burden of the banjo or the traps. But by midnight, the hilarity had increased. A celebrated tenor had sang in Italian, and a notorious contralto had sang in jazz, and between the number of people were doing stunts all over the garden were, while happy, vacuous bursts. Vacuous bursts of laughter rose toward the summer sky. A pair of stage twins, who turned out to be the girls in yellow, did a baby act in costume, and champagne was served in a glass bigger than fingerbows. The moon had risen higher, and floating in the sun was a triangle of silver scales, trembling a little to stiff. tiny drip of the banjo, tiny drip of the banjos on the lawn. I was still with Jordan Baker. We were sitting at a table with a man about my age and a rowdy little girl who gave way upon the slightest provocation to uncontrollable laughter. I was enjoying myself now. I had taken two bowls of champagne, and the scene had changed before my eyes into something significant, elemental, and profound. At a lull in the entertainment, the man looked at me and smiled. "Your face is familiar," he said politely. "Were you in the 1st Division during the war?" "Why, yes, I was in the 20th Infantry. I was in the 16th until June 1918. I knew I'd I knew I'd seen you somewhere before." We walked for a moment about some wet, great little villages and friends. Evidently, he lived in this vicinity, for he told me that he had just bought a hydroplane and was going to try it out in the morning. "Want to go with me, old sport? Just near the shore, along the Sound." "What time?" "Any time that suits you best. It was on the tip of my tongue to ask his name when Jordan looked around and smiled. "Having a gay time now?" she inquired. "Much better." I turned again to my new acquaintance. "This is an unusual party for me. I haven't seen the host. I live over there." I waved my hand at the invisible hedge in the distance, and this man Gatsby sent over the chauffeur with an invitation. For a moment, he looked at me as if he failed to understand. "I'm Gatsby," he said suddenly. "What?" I explained. "Oh, I beg your pardon? I thought you knew, old sport. I'm afraid I'm not a very good host." He smiled understandingly, much more than understandingly. It was one of those rare smiles with the quality of eternal reassurance in it that you may come across 4 or 5 times in life. It faced or seemed to face the whole eternal world for an instant, then concentrated on you when an irresistible prejudice in your favor. I understood you just so far as you wanted to be understood, believed in you as you would like to believe in yourself, and assured you that it had precisely the impression of you that, at your best, you hope to convey. Precisely at the point it vanished, and it was looking at an elegant young roughneck, a year or two over 30, though whose elaborate formality of speech just missed being absurd. Some time before he introduced himself and got a strong impression that he was picking his words with care. Almost at the moment when Mr. Gatsby identified himself, a butler hurried toward him with the information that Chicago was calling him on the wire. He excused himself with a small bow that included each of us in turn. well, I guess that's for today. I will see you guys next day. Bye bye.